What his role in what is the involvement? George Galloway.
George Galloway has been grown up, lived a long time in the Arab world, and has been deeply involved with influential people there. So he's not only well aware of it, but also he plays a role.
What a
He's a member of Parliament in
Britain.
Yes.
What is the involvement with Mubarak?
So, well, basically, I didn't know this, but actually, Mubarak, he was not on good ties with Mubarak. Mubarak kicked him out of the country, actually, because
Kick him out.
yes.
Oh.
Mubarak. You appear not to know that President Morsi in Egypt is a close friend of mine, and he defeated in the election an even closer friend of mine, Dr. Abdel Fattah, the leader of one of the trends of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, whilst President Morsi is the representative of the prevailing trend in the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. So me, don't recognize the Arab Spring, the Arab revolutions, but it's the first time I mentioned it because the title of my address was The World at War. I am in support of Arab revolution from Marrakesh to Bahrain. There you go. I want to see the downfall of every ruler, with the exception of my friend Sheikh Rashid Ghanouchi, who has been elected as the leader in Tunisia, from Marrakesh to Bahrain. Are you in favor of the downfall of all these dictatorships? In which case, you and I are comrades. In which case, you and I are comrades, not adversaries. But what I will not support, I'm coming to that. What I will not support is a British, American, French invasion of Syria, your former country. Maybe the rest don't know. Well, you shake your head.
He looks like Islam.
He's not. No, he's not.
He's British.
Yes.
You see, betraying, if I may say so, a lack of historical grasp. There was never anything called Lebanon. Lebanon never existed until Britain and France invented it. Lebanon and Syria were one country, Bilad al-Sham, until Sykes and Picot, in my building in Westminster, invented the country you now call yours, and which flag you presumably wave enthusiastically. I will not support the Western invasion of Syria any more than I supported the Israeli invasion of Lebanon. I'm in favor of revolution in Syria. It goes without saying. I just adumbrated from Marrakesh to Bahrain. That includes Syria. I'm in favor of revolution in Syria. But the revolution in Syria must be a Syrian revolution.
He said,
not an American.
Syrian revolution. What does it mean?
Syrian revolution. So that we had Arab Spring movement, right? So it was Tunisia. It started in Tunisia, then it went over to Libya, to Egypt, and then Syria. The uprising started. So in Syria, people started to revolt. Now the Western world was trying to wanted to invade in Syria at that moment, right? So he's saying, I'm against it. I don't think that Western powers should invade Syria. If there is to be a revolution, then it should be a Syrian revolution, a popular revolution, not a revolution which is backed by Western powers, because there are different.
What is Syrian revolution? What he said?
Syrian revolution, basically people who were uprising against Assad.
Oh, he said this is Syrian revolution.
That's a Syrian revolution. So this was not about, prior to the invasion, there was already a popular uprising against Assad. So everywhere in the Arab world,
I don't understand. He supported Syrian revolution, and he
Yes.
against Westerners' involvement.
Yes, exactly.
What does it mean?
That means exactly what you just said.
But actually, the Westerners support Syrian revolution.
Well, so later on we will look at Hillary, and they supported
French
militarily.
and Israeli invasion and occupation of your country. If you want to know what that would look like, Just look across the border in Iraq. I will not wish upon Syria what has already happened to Iraq. Sorry if we have to part company on that.
I don't understand what he said completely. I don't.
Really?
Yeah, what he's supporting Arab Spring and he's supporting Arab Spring. Why he is criticizing Westerners?
He is criticizing. He says, okay, the Arab Spring is good. Arab Spring should be the Arab Spring, not a Western involvement. What has happened in Iraq should be a message that we don't want the Western powers to be involved in a revolution. The revolution should be carried by popular support, not by Western powers who are going to interfere, because that is going to result in chaos.
Why he is supporting Morsi?
Why he's supporting Morsi? Basically, because Morsi was a popular, that was the candidate from the people. Morsi, and this is actually something that we can question, whether the Arab Spring was really a popular support or it was a CIA operation. We'll look at Russia TV later, but basically the Arab Revolution was supposed to be, and on the front was something that was a popular movement against the leadership in all these nations, from Marrakesh to Bahrain. There was an uprising against the leadership and put there by the Western powers, basically as puppets, to keep these countries destabilized, and this was a correction movement, basically.
Why he criticized Mubarak?
Why? Because Mubarak has been a part of the regime who basically have kept control against popular will over Egypt. So Mubarak was not really a democratically closed election. He was a compatriot of the United States, of the CIA, and the popular movement was more in the hands of the likes of the Muslim
Is this
Brotherhood.
old video?
This happened during the Arab Spring. This video.
So this is the 2012
Yes.
old one.
Right.
He's never talking about Sisi.
No. This happens then. So that's what's happening during the Arab Spring movement.
What-
So what divisions people have. So I'm showing a few fragments to get a better idea of what's happening during the Arab
A
Spring.
little bit
movement.
curious for me is what he said. How do you think about this?
I very much in favor of what he said. Although I do believe that Russian television also has a point.
Okay, let's move. Next week, or might be one more.
One more.
But I don't understand what this means.
You don't understand what this means. Basically, he has been. He apparently delivered a speech about the Middle East, and he has been talking a lot about what happened in Iraq, and so the Middle East at war. And then he was criticized by the young guy from Lebanon. He says, okay, well, how come that when you're talking about war in the Middle East, you're talking about the Middle East, how come you're not talking about what's happening right now? The biggest thing happening in the Middle East is not that war, it's the Arab Spring, the movement of democracy. And how come you are not more supportive of their cause? He said, what are you talking about, not more supportive? I am very supportive of their cause. I'm close friends with the current president of Tunisia, who has been democratically elected. I have been declared persona non grata in Egypt by Mubarak because I was supporting their counter candidates. Not only that, I'm very close friends with both candidates, both from the Muslim Brotherhood, by the way, who are who actually have been running against and feeding the Arab Spring movement against Mubarak. So while that was obviously true, I've been expelled from the country. So I have, and I'm actually declaring officially that I am in favor of the Arab Spring movement. I support them. I really support that movement of democratization. What I do not support is the Western involvement in those movements. If there is to be a Arab Spring, then the Arab Spring should be carried by the people themselves, not by the Western nations, because the Western nations have been actually responsible for the situation that is there, when they are going to come back, they're going to use their influence to keep these countries unstable. So what we can do is we can support the Arab Spring movement, but we should not, as Western countries, be interfering in those countries, because we are the ones responsible in the first place, and we do not have the best interests of those people in mind.